Hi there, thanks so much for joining me. Today I have a fun Cricut project. Mother's Day is next weekend and I thought it was time to put together a card that you can make pretty simply with your Cricut. And the best part is this card could be used for all other occasions just by simply changing the sentiment. So let's get started. It is May 2017 and I am in the new Design Space 3. If yours doesn't look like this, you need to check out the new Design Space. It's in beta right now, but you can play with it and I just love how this works. So I thought we would do this tutorial in Design Space 3 beta. First thing we need to do is click New Project. You can click right here or right here in the upper right. Now we need to collect our images to make our card, so we're going to click on Images over here in the left. In the search bar, we're going to type flower. And then we're going to click on the filter and we're going to click on printable. I want printable flowers. And you can choose any of them that you like. I went with two Anna Griffin ones that I really love, which were this one. This is Carolina 3, item M25C01F from Anna's Vintage Florals. We need that. We need, the other one I used was this one, I believe. This one is Carolina 4, also from Anna's Vintage Florals, item M25C027. We need that. We also need our backgrounds. We're going to type in background. We're going to go over to our filter. We're going to uncheck that printables. And it's this one right here. It's part of Access. This is background item M34BFE from Teresa Collins Basics. We want that. And we also need a Mother's Day greeting. So I'm going to type in Mother's Day. And again, you can use any of these you like. There's one that I really like from Anna Griffin. And by the way, Anna Griffin images are not part of Access, so you will be purchasing these if you want to use them and you don't have the cartridge. I purchased them. I'm part of Access and it cost me a little under $2. So we need this image. And this one is Happy Mother's Day, item M384D60 from Anna's Lovely Layered Cards. And we're going to click Insert Images. Now we have a couple other items we need. We need to go to Shapes. We're going to click on the square. And I think we're all set. So let's start with this square. This is going to be the bottom layer of our card front. So we're going to change this to match our card size. We're going to go up here in the Edit panel. We're going to unlock this Keep Proportions. And we're going to change the width to 4.00 and the height to 5.25. While it's still selected, we're going to click on it over here in the Layers panel and we're going to change it to light gray. Perfect. Next, we're going to grab our background layer. And again, we're going to go up here, unlock Keep Proportions, and we're going to change this to the same as our card base, which is 4.0 wide by 5.25. Now this is going to distort it a little bit, but I don't mind. You see how it's kind of elongated those circles, but that's okay. So I'm going to lock this back up. That's exactly how I want it. I'm going to go over in the Layers panel, and you'll notice this has a background layer. We don't need that background layer, so let's just get rid of it. We're going to turn it on by clicking on the eye, and then we're just going to click Delete. Okay, let's select the lattice again, click on it in the Layers panel, and let's change that to white. And now let's duplicate that. Okay, this is going to set on the card just like this. And just for fun and for a little bit more texture, I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to click Flip up here in the upper left corner on the edit bar, and I'm going to click Flip Vertical. Now what this is going to do is, well, we need to bring that to the front. So hit Arrange right here, Arrange, move to front. And what that's going to do is make this fun double layer here that's, if we had it the other way, they would stack right on top of each other, which would also be fine, but I just thought it would be fun to put it this way and add a little more dimension to our card. Okay, there's one more item we need I forgot to grab while we were in the library, so let's go back to Images and let's type in scallop oval. And you can choose any of them that you like. I chose this one right here. It's also part of Access. It's called Oval Scallop Design Label M46F39 from Elegant Edges. But you can pick any of them you like. And we're going to insert that. Okay, so this is going to be the next layer we're going to work with. We look over in the Layers panel and we notice this also has a layer turned off. We're going to use that layer, so let's turn it back on. I cut mine out in gold foil. You could cut it out in gold poster board that Cricut has. You could cut it out in gold glitter. That would be pretty. Or you can leave this layer out altogether. That's totally up to you. But I cut this out in gold, so I'm going to click on it in the Layers panel and I'm just going to turn it to this yellow color to remind me to put my gold cardstock in. The next layer I cut out in a pink Cricut cardstock, so I'm going to change that to the pink. And then the top layer I cut in white, so I'm going to change that to white. Perfect. Now, what I want to do is put this sentiment on top of this white layer. I can't manipulate the white layer without manipulating everything else. So what I want to do is ungroup this label. So I'm going to click Ungroup right here in the Layers panel. And now I can just grab this white label and turn it up here. Now I'm going to click on my sentiment and I'm going to hit Arrange, move to front. I'm going to put this on top of my label and I'm going to resize this. Make sure you don't resize that label, just your sentiment, and get it the way you want it. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to move this flower out of my way so that I can just easily draw a box around the two of those. Now I want to make sure that's totally centered, so I'm going to click Align, Center. And that centered that both vertically and horizontally on the label. Now, one thing you need to do in Design Space, if you're attaching something that you're going to write on, you need to attach it. If you don't attach it, Design Space doesn't know where you want that writing to go. So we need to attach. So we're going to go over here in the Layers panel. At the very bottom, there is the feature called Attach. Make sure you have the writing and the oval scallop top layer selected and click Attach. Now Design Space knows we want them to write right here on top of this label. The other thing I want to do is I'm going to cut my writing in a different color. So we can click on that and it's given me different pen colors. And you can change this. Obviously you can put whatever pen in you want, but I am going to be using the Cricut wine colored pen. I just thought it went nicely with my card. Okay, perfect. So now we can select this label, put it back here. We can select all of this and hit Align Center again. And we can just group this back together. That way we don't have to worry about moving one layer without the other. Okay, this is going to set on our card about like this, but it's a little bit larger than I want it. So I'm going to scale it down a little bit. And you could, this is totally up to your preference, how you like it. I think that's about good for me. If you look up in the Edit panel, mine is 1.913 wide by 2.419. That looks pretty good. Next, we're going to take this layer and I'm going to hit Arrange, move to front, and this layer is going to fit something like this. And so I'm just going to scale that down so that it looks proportionate to my card. And it's probably going to be more like that. And I'm going to actually tuck it behind the label. So let's grab the label, hit Arrange, move to front. So that, I might go a little bit bigger. Okay, now my flower is 2.786 wide by 2.806 high. And then I have this layer. We're going to hit arrange, move to front. So this goes on top of the card. And I'm going to pop this one up on top of the card. But I want to resize that one a little bit. And that's just going to fill in this corner a little. So again, this is totally up to you and your preference, how big or small you want your accent pieces. That one is 1.725 wide by 2.25 high. And I think that looks great. So let's click Make It. Okay, so here you see we have our two printable images. This is going to print on a piece of white cardstock, 8.5 by 11. Don't throw this away. We're going to use the bottom part of this piece of cardstock for our actual card base. Next we have our gray layer, and I am going to move that down to this corner of the mat. This corner of the mat doesn't get used very often, so it tends to be a little bit stickier. Same here. These are the two lattice pieces. These are very intricate, so I want a sticky part of the mat. So I'm going to move these down here. And since I'm going to move those down here, I'll also move this. Make sure when you put this white layer in, you watch the instructions on the screen. It's going to tell you to put the pin in. So when you put this white piece of paper on, put your pin in, and it's going to write this, and then it's going to cut the label and the lattice pieces. This is my gold piece, and this is my pink layer. So cut these out, meet me in my craft room, and I'm going to show you how I put these together, and I'm going to show you how I use my sewing machine, which is a big question I get asked all the time. So meet me over there, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so here we have all of our pieces. We have our print and cut pieces, our label pieces, we have the two lattices, we have the card base, and then this is the other half of that print and cut page. I cut it in half at 5.5 inches on the long side and then just folded it in half. So that's going to be the base of our card. So the first thing we're going to do is adhere the lattice piece to the gray piece. And I find using a spray adhesive is the easiest method for this, but you can use any adhesive you have. I'll have all the products I used linked below the video. But I like to spray adhesive when I have these little intricate pieces. So we're just going to line that up centered on the gray piece of cardstock. And then we're going to take the second one, and using the same method, we're going to spray some adhesive on it and then apply it in the opposite direction. You can see this direction is the same, this is the opposite. So it makes that really added layer of texture. Once that's applied, I'm going to just run this through my sewing machine. This is not a special sewing machine, it's a Singer sewing machine. I'll have it linked below the video. And you can see I just run it through just like I'm running fabric through my machine. There's nothing crazy about doing this. I would tell you, if you're going to use your sewing machine, that you may want to reserve a needle just for paper. You're not going to want to use this needle on fabric. But I'm just using regular thread and running it through the machine. On the corners, I make sure the needle is down before I turn it so that I can get a nice turn. And then I just backstitch at the end. And that's all there is to using your sewing machine. You'll see I use that on a lot of my projects. And here you can see the stitching. It just adds a little bit of fun surprise element to your card. So here we're just going to add some adhesive. I'm just using a basil tape runner. And we're going to apply that entire piece to the card. Make sure your card is opening in the correct direction. Next, we're going to take the gold bottom layer of the scalloped oval and apply the pink one on top. And then we're going to use a piece of foam adhesive on the back of the sentiment and just apply that to the center of our scalloped oval. Next, you can skip this if you want, and you can skip the sewing or any of this if you want, but I just took a piece of white ribbon and I just wrapped it inside the card and around, and I'm just going to make a simple bow. And this just adds a fun flair to the card. And excuse my on-screen bow tying. It never goes as you plan when you're trying to tie a bow on screen. So I'm just going to clip the tails of the ribbon into a fishtail by folding the ribbon in half and cutting from the folded side down. And that just makes some nice finished edges on the end of your ribbon. So now we're going to add our elements. We're going to add the sentiment first, and again I'm going to use a little foam adhesive. You can put foam squares on the back. You could just use some fun foam and tape that on, whatever works for you. I just like it to be popped up a little bit for some extra dimension. I'm kind of putting this in the center of the card but off to the right. This piece I'm going to put under the ribbon and under the label, kind of in a upper left corner. You can place it however you like. And I'm just going to use some tape runner for that. I like to put the sentiment first because then I can kind of put everything else around it. And then this one I'm going to pop up by putting 2 layers of foam adhesive on the far side so that there isn't any adhesive where the label and the flower overlap. So I'm kind of cutting the foam down on one side. And so that is popped up on 2 layers, so it adds just another little bit of dimension. And there's the ribbon and our finished card. And here's a couple close-ups of the finished card. Remember, you can just change the sentiment and make this into a birthday card, a sympathy card, a get well soon card, all kinds of possibilities. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you for continuing to watch my videos and all the positive comments that you guys leave for me. I read each and every one of them. Until next time, see ya. Bye-bye.